hospitals and medical staff aren't the only ones being affected, of course. Around the country, airlines are experiencing an unprecedented amount of staffing issues, including Delta, which announced 8,000 of its roughly 75,000 employees have contracted COVID-19 over the last month. This follows United Airlines' announcement that nearly 3,000 company workers there are currently positive. So joining us now for more is Sara Nelson. She's the president of the Association of Flight Attendants, which is an important part, obviously, of the airline industry. It's the one we all most come in contact with. So, Sara, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Terry.
So what are you hearing from flight attendants at this point in time, given the Omicron surge and the fact that it's impacting the airlines so heavily?
Look, this is a concern because we have been living with this virus for 2 years. We've had ups and downs of fighting for our jobs and being successful, and then having a lapse in funding from Congress and getting that funding back in place again so that we can be in place to meet the demand when it comes. When that vaccine was rolled out and more people had confidence in air travel and they came back, our planes have been full. And we have been dealing with conflict in the skies. It's been very difficult. Now, with the onset of Omicron, we have more people who are getting sick, more people who are concerned about that, family members who are getting sick. But I think it's really important to recognize that it's not just the staff that are getting sick. We actually had a high number of individual flight cancellations of travelers who were sick or concerned about Omicron too. So this is affecting everyone across the board. And just like the other reports that you're talking about with healthcare workers, flight attendants and frontline workers in aviation are worn out too.
And we, you know, I'll just speak for all of us of goodwill, not the ones who are harassing you guys on board, but we're all very grateful for the work that you have done. But across the board, the airlines experiencing, as you just say, staffing concerns, flight delays since Omicron exploded. What is the most important things that flight attendants need right now from your employers?
We need clarity. So it was very difficult during the holiday season that Delta Airlines went to CDC and advocated for the change in the quarantine days, and then communicated that while we were still in the holiday rush and in the middle of operational meltdowns. We have to be really clear with people about what the mitigation factors are in place. So it makes sense that some people are getting better sooner and can come back to work. And there doesn't have to be a requirement for people to stay at home for 10 days if they're better. But what we wanted to make sure that was, because this was a push to address the issue of staffing, that it wasn't misrepresented to people to give them the idea that their employers were going to force them to come back to work sick. We were concerned about that in the airline industry and also in every other industry. So we were very loud about that and wanted to make very clear that people heard, as part of CDC's guidance, that people should be asymptomatic. And although CDC did not include a testing requirement, that test is very important, and we wanted to ensure that our airlines were including that. So many of the airlines held off on implementing those new CDC policies at that time because it's very difficult to roll that out through the operation, and miscommunication and disinformation when you're trying to get everyone on one page together with a set of mitigation factors so that we're not adding to the spread of this virus and we're keeping people as safe as possible and we're keeping confidence in air travel is really, really important. And that's why we were so clear about not being happy about that change so quickly, and to make it very clear that CDC said that people should be asymptomatic when they're coming back, not coming back to work sick.
That's a great point. And to get an industry this large to adjust in real time across the board in a way that, as you say, is clear and safe, such a big task. Back in March of 2020, near the beginning of the pandemic, the airlines received a $25 billion bailout as part of the CARES Act to, quote, preserve aviation jobs and compensate air carrier industry workers. So how did that work out for flight attendants?
Terry, what I would tell you is that that wasn't a bailout. We know what a bailout looks like. And after 9/11, it wasn't enough, but it was given to the airlines. They decided how to use it. We lost our jobs. We lost our pensions. We lost our pay. We actually designed the payroll support program that became the $25 billion payroll support that covered about 50% of the major airlines' payroll during that first 6 months of coronavirus, and gave the airlines a chance to sort of respond and be able to get their business in shape to be able to respond in a longer term to this pandemic. But this was our plan. It kept people in their jobs, continuing to get a paycheck, connected to their health care, continuing to pay taxes and paying into the social systems that were strained during the time, unemployment insurance, Social Security, and everything else. So it was a great plan. It was a plan that we had hoped would be duplicated across every other industry. That didn't happen. We are 80% union in the airline industry, and we worked hand in hand with our airlines to get that done. And because of that, we had tremendous bipartisan support, and it is being celebrated worldwide as the best relief program around the world.
Well, that's great. That's good news. I love hearing good news. But finally, let me get you, give you a chance here. You know, we see these cell phone videos of flight attendants having to put up with really dangerous sometimes encounters with passengers. What do you want to say to people who are uptight about mask mandates, who are ideologically opposed to mask mandates, who are, come on board, ready for a fight, either verbal or otherwise? What do you want to say to people who might be listening before they board the plane?
Well, look, when you buy a ticket, you say that you are going to abide by all those rules and that you will wear a mask at all times. And so you are making that commitment up front. You're making that commitment again when you check in for that flight. There are safety rules that we have to enforce in aviation that we don't have to do anywhere else in our public life. You can't bring a gun or a knife into my workplace. You have to practically undress to prove that you're not a security threat. You've got to bring your tray table up and keep your seatbelt on. And we enforce all of those things because flying is a very special thing. And it only happens if we all do it together, we all follow the rules, and we all keep each other safe. And so we would encourage them, to, at least for a couple of hours, just have the spirit that we're all in this together, follow the rules, and then you'll get to where you want to go and have a blast when you get there. But if you don't, we may be diverting somewhere else, and you may be ending up in jail.
Wow, and being the least popular passenger on that plane as well. But that spirit of solidarity, we need it on the planes and right across our society. Sara Nelson, thanks very much for being with us, and good luck.
Thank you, Terry.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.